Hi, this is a quick RNG setup demo. We're going to describe setting up an RNG with a camera, in this case, a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and then maybe hook on a few accessories. The process is pretty straightforward, so let's get started. Powering the RNG. In the back of the RNG, you've probably already noticed this U60 type battery plate. This is one way to power your whole system. Just add a U60 type battery, and your whole system is set to go. The main power switch is directly below. Attaching microphones. The RNG 3.2 has an integral microphone shock mount on the front of the handle. You can add any reasonably short shotgun microphone the regular way. If you have your own favorite shock mount, don't be afraid to unscrew ours and then bolt yours on in its place. Since you have phantom power with the RNG, microphones without a AA socket are shorter, so they're preferable. When plugging in your shotgun microphone, it's a good practice to start with your phantom power turned off. Make sure the channel you're using is set to microphone level, plug in your microphone, and then apply phantom power. The phantom power indicator should now be illuminated. Note that the phantom power is automatically interrupted when you switch to line level. This is to protect any external electronics that are plugged into the RNG. When you switch back to microphone level, the phantom power should automatically resume. If shooting outside at all, always use wind protection. What about wireless? Your wireless might output mic or line level, so switch the input to what you need. If you can use either, choose line level and adjust your belt pack receiver to match. There's no need for phantom power. Plug into the XLR input and you're ready to go. The flipper, that panel above the input channels, is what holds your receiver, or two of them, or a receiver and a transmitter, and it uses the belt clip. The flipper was designed to fit Sennheiser and Electrosonics wireless, but almost every other brand fits well. You just snap it on. Now let's check out the control area. There are two precision peak detectors, one for each channel, and each one of them is lined up with a corresponding volume knob. The vertical alignment makes it obvious what you're controlling. Turn it up. The meter is color-coded. Green for everything quiet up to -12 dB, yellow up to 0 dB, and red means you might have just messed up. Try to keep the peaks reaching up into the yellow area without ever hitting the red. Also in the indicator panel, there's a low battery warning light. Change your power source immediately when this light is illuminated. Your battery is about 5 or 10% at this point. Behind the volume knobs is a third control. That's the headphone volume knob. The RNG has its own headphone speaker, or plug in your earbuds here in the back. This switch allows you to listen to incoming audio instead of the return signal from the camera. This is just in case you're using a camera that can't return audio. Now let's attach the camera. Looking down the front of the RNG, you can see the power connector port on the left. It's a standard 4-pin connector, but it also uses the other pins for lower voltage cameras and detection. On the right is the overall audio interface for the camera. This multi-pin sends and receives audio with the camera using a specific cable set designed for each camera type. Here's a power cable for the Blackmagic Pocket, and here's the audio interface cable. It uses pins encoded to your camera type, a TRS audio input, and an output TRS connector for monitoring. To plug the audio cable in, look for the orienting arrow, which denotes the top of the connector. If this arrow is at the top of the connector, it'll plug in correctly. So just get it facing up and plug it in. The plug locks so it won't fall out. To remove, just pull the connector body and the plug will automatically unlock for you. So that's everything that goes into the camera. Speaking of cameras, here's the Blackmagic Pocket we're going to use for our example. The process is similar with other cameras. One interesting thing about the Pocket in particular is that if you have any external power connected, it charges the internal battery, even if the camera's off. This can put an unnecessary load on the RNG and your RNG power source, so you should remove the battery to take this out of the equation. This camera has a typical 1/4-20 mounting socket. I'm describing mounting the camera directly to the platform. The process is similar with a quick release plate, so mounting should be pretty straightforward. Here is the 1/4-20 screw that comes with the RNG. Just pop the screw through and put it all together. Once you're about to tighten the camera down, just make sure there's enough space so that you can comfortably control the lens or have room to add any focusing accessories you may be using. Once you're happy, tighten it all down. If you're using a QR plate, you can always use 2 mounting screws to make sure that it can't turn. In this video, we have the camera cables feeding out the front. If you have the platform extended forward, you can always feed the cables out the top behind the camera as well. Plug in the power connector. Now the audio input, which has a microphone symbol on this camera. Now the monitoring connection, which shows a headphone symbol on this camera. Make sure the monitor switch on the back of the RNG is listening to the camera. Powering accessories. At the front of the RNG are 2 pairs of accessory power output ports. These outputs allow you to eliminate batteries on viewfinders, small lights, and other camera mount equipment. Here's an RNG barrel cable, and we're going to plug it into this light, for example. Then pick the output connector that fits, and you've got power. Adding an external battery. The 4-pin connector on the back of the RNG is an automatically switching power input. Just plug your 14.4 volt external power into this connector, and the RNG will automatically switch to this source. Our optional gold and V-Lock battery adapters use this port, and you can adjust battery position to take camera weight off your arms. These large batteries give you tons of shoot time with these smaller cameras. Excellent. We've gotten everything set up and completed. Next time you turn this system on, you'll be ready in a few seconds for a full day of shooting. Thanks for watching and keep in touch.